Welcome to another QB Spotlight video, and today we're going to spotlight the SEC as a whole, so there's not going to be any film breakdowns today, or at least in this video, but we're going to just touch on each team of the SEC and talk about their current quarterback situation from teams that are having an open competition, teams that have transfers, teams that have quarterbacks transferring out, and then of course the returning starters as well. So there's only 6 returning starters coming back in the SEC in 2022, so we're going to take a few minutes and talk about each of those teams and talk about more of the uncertainty. And if you have any specific questions over each team or a certain quarterback from the team, let us know in the comments below and we'll get to it. If you want a film breakdown over someone that we haven't done yet, then we will get to that as well. And before we continue on, just want to encourage all to consider subscribing to the channel if you like any quarterback related content, as long as it's related to the quarterback position. It's fair game here. So let's talk about the returning starter. So I think it's fair to start off with quarterback Bryce Young, Alabama. They don't have much to say for the simple fact was best quarterback in college football last year, won the Heisman. Excuse me. Excuse me. Wow, can't talk. And things should be looking better and better for him next year as well. I know they're probably going to figure out their receiving situation and the receiving core, but like the past few years, someone steps up, multiple people step up, and so you expect the same from Bryce Young that you had this past year to continue to develop. The biggest takeaways for I think all of us watching Bryce Young is just his ability to stay calm within the pocket and throw off balance and make it look like it's a normal type throw, right? So again, Bryce Young, not much to add there. The top quarterback returning. Next quarterback, Tennessee quarterback Hendon Hooker, who's one of our favorites to break down and watch this past year. Really bust on the scene in the pick game he got put in, and pretty much from there it kind of just took off. Did a great job taking care of the football. Did a good job fitting that offense well and pushing the ball downfield when he needed to, right? So I think you could very well see Tennessee take another step forward depending on the pieces around Hooker, but I think Hooker as a whole, I think he's turning himself into an NFL prospect. Number 3, Arkansas quarterback KJ Jefferson. Of course, anyone that watches this channel knows that we are very high on KJ Jefferson. Kind of just busted, I don't want to say out of nowhere, because I think he showed some glimpses in that Mizzou game in 2020, but had a great season this past year. Did a great job taking care of the football. Really made that offense go. And then, of course, very good athlete to run the ball as well. But I think it was his ability to push the ball downfield that really helped him in the run game. So again, very solidified position there. Mississippi State, similar to the past few guys, they're very solidified at that position with Will Rogers. I think he had a good step forward this year in 2022. No, 2021, excuse me. And so I would imagine another step forward in 2022. Very accurate with the ball downfield. We've done some film breakdowns on him before, and he does a good job fitting the ball into tight windows. Let's real quick talk about Kentucky and Georgia, the last 2 teams that have a returning starter at the quarterback position. Will Levis, we just did a film breakdown of him, and I think being his first year as a starting quarterback in that offense, I think you see the next step in some maturity. I think as long as he kind of cut down on the interceptions, I think some more consistency will come. But overall, I think Kentucky's in a good spot with Levis at the quarterback position. And, of course, Stetson Bennett at Georgia, the national champions. You always hear people talking about, okay, someone taking this job now. They have a lot of, high recruits at the quarterback position that are behind him. So I think until he does something that costs them a game or loses, I think he'll probably will continue to be the starting guy. But admittedly, this is the Georgia program, and that kind of situation is not something I really have kept up with that much. But as long as he's there, I would imagine he gets the start and goes forward until we know otherwise. So let's talk about the rest of the conference, right? That's the most interesting part of the conference. I guess I could have talked about Georgia's JT Daniels transferring. So that's another tidbit there as well. But let's get into the more kind of exciting things going on right now, or the more unknown, the transfers, the competitions, and kind of this all what that entails. So Mizzou, Connor Bazelak, transferring to Indiana was one I didn't really see coming. I have no idea who's going to be the starting guy there. Probably should have done some research. I digress. I did not do much to see who is in the competition for Mizzou right now. I just find it a bit surprising that Bazelak did transfer. But he did, so that's an opening spot right there. South Carolina, I think, is an interesting one. Spencer Rattler coming in. I think he's probably the presumed starter right now. I'd imagine there, of course, will be a competition with Luke Doty. They have another freshman quarterback, Colton Gaither, I'm pronouncing that wrong, but he was a high recruit. So they do have some guys that can compete, but with their quarterback situation being what it was last year, Jason Brown, the guy that started towards the end of the season, transferred out. Zeb Nolan, the grad assistant, no longer, I guess he's out of eligibility. But with the quarterback situation, quarterback position kind of struggling for the most part. South Carolina last year, I would imagine it's probably Spencer Rattler's job to lose, and I think he can come in and have an impact. Right? We did a film breakdown of Rattler. I think he's judged pretty critically for the simple fact he was a high recruit, and so. But with that said, I do think he could come in and elevate that position, elevate the offense, and just be a threat pushing the ball downfield, which is all South Carolina needs. So again, that's a very interesting one at South Carolina. Florida, another fascinating one. But Jack Miller transferred in from Ohio State. You got the talented Anthony Richardson, who all the fans wanted last year to start. And then, of course, you got Billy Napier in the new offense coming in. And we did a film breakdown of Napier's offense and how Richardson could fit in that offense. But I think it's going to be a pretty open competition, right? Jack Miller's a talented guy. He can sling it. He's a good athlete as well. Richardson, we know, is a very good athlete with a big arm who had a knack for big-time plays last year. So I think just consistency and kind of just more opportunities to be consistent is probably what Richardson lacked this past year. I think they have a pretty talented young quarterback too as well. Don't quote me on that. And Emory Jones, right? I haven't heard much about him. Is he still in the portal? Is he coming back? Last time I heard he was in the portal. I didn't see if he committed a different school. Maybe I missed that. If you know that, let us know in the comments below. But Florida, very fascinating quarterback room to keep up with, especially with Napier's offense. I think it's going to be a close battle as the spring rolls around and then as fall rolls around. Vanderbilt, sorry, no idea. All right, let's move on to Ole Miss, right, with the coach, not the coach, the OC leaving, with Matt Corral going to the next level. They bring in Jackson Dart and then Luke Altmaier. I think I'm pronouncing that right, but Altmaier, I think, showed some good things as a recruit, so I don't think it's just Jackson Dart's job right off the bat. I think it's going to be interesting competition to keep track of, one, and I think you have some talented guys in that room, and then I think whoever ends up being the quarterback there, of course, you got a good coach with Kiffin, who I think should be able to develop. But interesting situation, interesting quarterback room there. Dart's getting the hype, but I think we'll see this competition go out through spring and then go out through the fall. But another one to keep track on. Texas A&M, I could probably talk about this forever. I'll try to keep it just to that 20, 30 seconds like we've done with most of these teams. Max Johnson coming in from LSU. I think he's probably the presumed starter. I think Johnson was one of the more underrated quarterbacks last year at LSU. I think he did some good things, and especially with the running game being poor at LSU. Most teams knew what was going to happen. Still, Johnson was able to provide the majority of their offense, right? Even though there were some things to improve on. But Max Johnson comes in. Haynes King, who won the job last year and then got hurt, he is back and talented guy. He's probably the better athlete, probably has a better arm. And so I think that's going to be an interesting competition. And you got a young, highly touted freshman coming in. Don't know if he's going to be competition or not, but he's definitely going to be pushing these two guys. But I think it comes down to Johnson and Haynes King. And it wouldn't surprise me to see either one of them start, but I think Johnson probably has the edge just because of his experience. Okay, Auburn. Again, could talk about this for a while. What a mess, right? Just with the coaching staff, not the quarterbacks in general, with the coaching staff. But Nick's leaving. We have transfers coming in. Zach Calzada from Texas A&M, who started the majority of the games for him. We have a transfer from Oregon. And then, of course, you have TJ Finley, who got the playing time whenever Nick's was not in last year. So TJ Finley, Zach Calzada, right? And then the quarterback from Oregon. A dark horse I really like is their freshman quarterback. I forget the first name. I can't remember. Is it last name Davis, right? From Houston. He's a Texas guy. I'm a Texas guy, so I'm a little biased. But talented guy. Was great in high school, so I wouldn't rule him out either. So I think it's a wide open competition. I don't even know if they've got an offensive coordinator yet with everything that's gone on. So just a interesting school to keep track of in general. But the quarterback room is going to be a wide open competition. And then LSU, again, like the last 3 or 4 schools we talked about. Could talk about this for a while too. Miles Brennan was in the transfer portal, now is back at LSU. Of course, Max Johnson transferred out, who we talked about earlier. Then we have the young quarterback last year, Grant Nussmeier. And then you have a highly recruited quarterback coming in as well. So I think it's a wide open competition. Probably Miles Brennan's job to lose. Maybe I'm off saying that. I just think with Brian Kelly's history and starting kind of veteran guys, you want guys that have some experience. But again, Brandon doesn't have that much more experience than Nussmeier, right? 3 or 4 games starting. So again, open competition. Don't have a huge read on it. I would maybe put money on Brendan, but Nussmeier's a really talented guy. The freshman could come in and kill it. So again, I think we'll know a lot more once spring ball is over. So again, we touched on every SEC school. I'll try to do this more often since most of the content and most of the interactions with SEC schools when we put up videos. If you want any other conferences breakdowns, let me know. I know we have some fans from other conferences and schools that tune into our stuff, so we want to continue to put out stuff for them. But again, the SEC is kind of the fan base that keeps up with most of our quarterback stuff, so I'll try to do more updates on the conference as a whole. Any questions, let us know in the comments below. Anything I got wrong, let us know in the comments below. Let us know if you want any more film breakdowns, who you want, and we'll have several quarterback breakdown and competitions coming up as spring goes. If you like the video, subscribe, like all the YouTube stuff. We'll see you next time on the next QB Spotlight video.